that we're starting with this kind of a little bit of this confusion with the Two of Swords and the Moon card here. So things feel a little bit out of your grasp, but they also feel like they're hidden from you. The Moon represents sort of hidden energy. It can also represent Cancerian energy. So if you are Cancer, this could resonate doubly so, or quadruply so, triply so. But I almost feel like there's something about I'm getting that there's something about the offers that you want. And it's like those are starting to come in more. But there's a way that you feel confused about. You feel confused about them, I think, because there might be Three of Pentacles represents sort of creative collaboration and working with others. And what this can also represent to me is a way that we can get a bit caught up with other people and the things that they think and say. The reason why I say this is because this is kind of could become a bigger issue if it's not really dealt with now. And I think that's where it's sort of what people, it's like choosing things that make you happy and manifesting from that inspired place, right? Manifesting from that inspired place that doesn't let passion run the show, right? Because if passion runs the show, that can then be like a shadow that's kind of in charge, right? And the Ace of Cups is this emotional side of things, this emotionality that is, I feel like you're really in your feelings about it, and you're in your head as well about, there's a piece of this, there's a heartbreak piece of this. Three of Swords, Four of Swords. Three of Swords is the heartbreak and the Four of Swords is the healing of it, right? You're seeing differently. Like it's sort of like you see the three here and then four. It's almost expanding your vision. It's helping you to pull back and see a whole lot more in this. Which is what you want, right? You want that expansive vision, not because it's expansive and you're like, yay, Jupiter. That is fun, but 555 on the time. So I think this has been a bit of a change and shift that's been taking place for you. The Three of Pentacles tells me, though, too, that there is a way that others have been working on things, and you've been manifesting more from a place of connecting with other people or in service to other people's opinions, because you thought that you valued them, which you do, but it's almost like they get to be a bit of a distraction from what you really want, right? You want this inspiration and this Magician card to be working together, but you also don't want it disconnected from your emotions either, right? So I think that these are kind of divine downloads I'm hearing, divine downloads, divine gifts that are coming to you in service to this healing energy. And it's kind of taking, this is the Two of Swords in the traditional Rider-Waite is somebody who has the ability to take the blindfold off, but who isn't doing it, and is instead holding swords up in a very defensive position, right? So it's almost like you're choosing defense, which is kind of, so according to A Course in Miracles, that's like a form of attack, right? Defense is one of the first acts of war, according to the Course. And I believe that. I've seen it and lived it in my own life, where I think that you're starting to, it's almost like you may have only felt like you could say these things, like you could whisper them at night and very quietly because you didn't want the universe to hear it, right? So you would be connected to these things that were most important to you, where your defenses were down, where you were incredibly vulnerable with yourself and what you wanted. And I think that when you realize that, it propels you forward towards this inspired manifesting from a place that is, you know, considering the opinions of others and working with it, but they're not at the table with you when you're doing your manifesting. It's really manifesting and connected to spirit in service to your inspiration and helping others. I'm getting like the others are factoring in here, because this to me is like a collective, and you can listen to the collective solely and have that be your sole source of wisdom. Or you can have that collective be, you know, what you're giving to as well. I don't think there's a real split here between the two, but I think it's like you're kind of tangled with what your priorities are right now. And I say that because there's this Three of Swords and Four of Swords. I almost get that this heartbreak is something that you're envisioning happening more than something that's actually happened or will happen. Like it's almost like a looming thing, and that's what's keeping you in this Two of Swords in this disconnected, super duper confused place. But I think that you're reconnecting to this wisdom, and you're reconnecting to inspired I guess, like inspired movement forward that integrates both the, the way that others, people offer feedback all the time. It's how we take it and what we do with it that connects us or disconnects us from our path and our wisdom. And I think that this is you reconnecting in a way that allows for the feedback from others to be integrated within, but it also doesn't disconnect you from service to the collective. Because this, I mean, the way that this is portrayed, the light just went up. The way that this is portrayed to me is about this is the way that this card is in the traditional Rider-Waite is like public recognition, celebration, like it's the celebration in the square kind of idea because they're all on horseback, and this intones a similar kind of idea. I don't necessarily like the idea of celebrity status just because of the specialness that's involved, and when we get into that, it's so wrapped up in ego and it sort of becomes like a narcissist playground, and that's just no thank you. That's not energy that I want to bring into this. It's not, no, it's just no. But what I do see here is that this kind of, it is like a public facing recognition, but it's not like a recognition so much. I'm just seeing that there's ways that you've integrated the wisdom from others that doesn't disconnect you from your own wisdom, that doesn't confuse you and make you feel like you have to reach for wisdom of one sort. It allows you to integrate wisdom that is in service to your highest and best good, is what I'm trying to say here with the healing parts and components at work. But I think that you have to reconnect to the wisdom within as opposed to the heartbreak in order for it to really resonate. And you have to give yourself rest through that, my daily creatives. You have to give yourself rest. Temperance is here, Sag card. That's the Jupiter. Expand into my Jupiter. This is the reminder, in my opinion, to temper this. Don't let the opinions of others kind of run into your manifesting, because you're in this really, really inspired place, right? You are divinity in blue jeans. That's no joke. Like, this means that it's not about manifesting for the stuff. It's about manifesting for the feeling, number one. Number two, it's about manifesting and connecting because you're doing something for others, right? This service card is showing up, and also the support of 10,000 angels, right? I think it's like when you're faced with these confusing moments, we're confused not because we necessarily know what we need to do next, but I think it's that we don't have enough information to make an informed decision, and we can kind of get caught up in these, like, and we can get persnickety with ourselves about the details and needing every single thing to be just so 11:11 on the time in order for us to move forward. But there is this sacred gap that we need to honor and respect because it is here for a reason. It's here for a reason. Yeah. So let's dig in, and we're going to clarify these messages here for you, my wonderful daily creatives. I'm going to use the Smith-Waite Tarot to do so. Let me move this closer here. Spirit, can I get some messages for my daily creatives for April 21st, please? And thank you so much. I think that you've been in your head about, like, it's almost like you can only serve one person. Like, you can only kind of serve one thing, right? Like, you have to make a choice here. Are you going to serve the people, like unsolicited opinions, or are you going to stay true to the magician in you and that place of manifesting from the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, this connection to spirit? You are divinity in blue jeans, and you have the support of 10,000 angels. So just remember that there's a way that you can bring things into the world. Yeah, it's avoiding. It's almost like that's going to be your way of sidestepping, like staying in tune and staying in touch, talking to your guides, talking to your angels, praying, doing all of that stuff is going to keep you connected and kind of help you to bypass and sidestep the ways that others' behavior can kind of keep the blindfold on and you super disconnected from your path and yourself. That does serve the wrong people, right? It serves the wrong people. It's like gaslighting, right? Ugh. It's not a great energy. Page of Wands, okay. Baby steps. Yeah, baby steps, and then all at once is what I'm hearing. Remember to take baby steps, because the leaps that you want to take, this could also represent travel or moving. I think that it's important to take baby steps with projects that you're working on this week or work that you're doing. And I think it's going to be important to remember that there's a lot of downloads and messages that are going to come in for you about this. You're going to get a lot more. To me, the wands are inspired messages. I think it can be passionate communication as well. So it could be that there's, once you focus your attention on, I guess, like yourself spirit, like when you direct it back within, and within yourself just meaning embodied. You are spirit embodied here, right? That's the truth. You are spirit embodied here. And I think when you focus that energy back towards listening to what spirit has to say, ooh, everything takes off. Everything takes off for you. And that's what I'm really understanding here. Two of Swords again, Four of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So this, yeah, like there's the Two of Swords clarifying the Two of Swords, and the Four of Swords clarified by the Four of Cups too, like that whole row. I think that this process, it's important for you to remember the healing is leading to a wish fulfillment for you. And that wishful thinking may make you feel like you don't know, like you have to, like you're worried about connecting to the wrong thing. You're worried about connecting to the wrong idea. But I think that there's solid offers here and they're valuable. You're still learning too, right? Remember that. You're still learning this. You're still learning this. We're all students in this big game life called life. I feel like it's very cliche to say it, but it's true. We're all still learning, right? Yeah, Page of Cups. Ace of Cups. Again, Ace of Cups. Seven of Swords. There it is. I could feel the energy. I think that, so Page of Cups and Ace of Cups clarified by the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Cups, to me is about trusting that your good is actually here to stay. Like trusting that this, like there's, in some way you may have gotten used to a bit of instability or like a rocky foundation because you've been listening to the wrong people or the wrong messages, or, and it could be the wrong people. Like if you have your parents, for example, like from the 70s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, right? When they themselves were children raising a child, if you've put their voices in your heart, if you've taken their voices and buried them inside of you, it makes it very hard because you're not even really honoring them because you're adopting the people that they were and they've changed profoundly, right? So I'm just thinking in terms of fourth house and like the ancestralness of it, the ancestral lineage and histories through the fourth house that can often connect to moon energy, and just this this here I'm almost getting this like divine feminine lineage. And I feel like, you know, I think about I don't know, so for example, my grandmother Mary, when she was, I think, between 12 and 14, I want to say 12 and 13, she had a baby girl and they had to put her up for adoption and they named her Mary. And she ended up moving out to BC. And the person that my grandmother was when she gave her up, I don't think that she really ever fully forgave herself for that. And I share this story because the person that my grandmother was at 12 and 13 didn't have the choices to make. And anytime they went out to BC, my mom's family, my grandmother would spend a day disappearing, like or you know, frantically looking through phone books, disappearing from the family dynamic, right? So in her later years, she, I guess, wanted to know that she was okay. But the people, that's another story where it's just, I wanted to give a variation of it. So it wasn't just about family things being difficult. It's also the people that we are when we have to make hard choices when we're younger and we're babies ourselves, right? We don't always have the knowledge and know-how to really integrate all of the things that we will know later into that behavior and action. So when we even look back at things that we do, 17 all the time, when we look back at things that we do later, it's sort of seeing ourselves through the eyes of a compassion that we may not have given ourselves otherwise, right? That we may not have looked at completely and fully. So I think this is about you really, really seeing here, really seeing that like hindsight is always 20/20, right? Hindsight is always 20/20. You can always do better. You can always do better when you're in hindsight. But when you look at yourself in that way, it's like you take something fundamental from your capacity to be loved and to give love. And I think that's something that's really important to remember here in this moon energy and the Three of Pentacles energy too, in terms of our work with other people. Wow, that came through really strong. It could be my grandmother's here. I feel her around often. She was a Cancerian, so. Spirit, can I get some messages here on the Ace of Cups and the Magician card? Nine of Pentacles. star. Yeah, I feel like this is you shining, my friends. This is you shining. You are divinity in blue jeans. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to bring in all of this beautiful stuff that you really value, that you reach for, that you want. The conditions for your life, you know, they're improving more than I think you can fully understand and grasp right now. Because you're shifting. What is important to you? Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles to me are about meaning. They're about planting seeds. They're about, you know, financial abundance. They're about a whole bunch of different things. But in this instance, I feel like these are the seeds that you planted a long time ago that are coming to fruition. 9 of Pentacles, right? Your garden is starting to overflow here. And I'm hearing night garden. If you've never planted a moon garden, I highly recommend it. But I'm almost hearing like you planted a variety of different things in that garden, and the healing has really allowed it to come to fruition. So just so that you know, my environmental studies background, nerding out right now. Well, not really. It's just an interest in the environment. But a moon garden is where flowers only bloom at night. So you also get certain seasonal planting that you can do. So they bloom sort of in tandem. Seasonally speaking, throughout the year, not throughout the year, throughout the season, I should say. The year I think of as summer. But I'm almost hearing that there's something that you didn't think would bloom under the light of the full moon, things you couldn't see. But this star is here, this healing energy, very beautiful energy. I don't think that you expected things to bloom in those conditions. But I think you planted a bit of a moon garden for yourself and you didn't realize. You planted seeds that could grow in daylight and also in the evening to join you and make the journey through some darker nights so much sweeter for yourself. Daily creatives, that's freaking beautiful. Can I just say that? That's absolutely beautiful. Oh, just beautiful. King of Pentacles. On the Ace of Wands, I do think this is, I'm hearing a new era of stability for you. The Sun, yeah. Page of Swords. Devil. Oh my gosh. It almost feels like there's like a crescendo. Like I'm hearing this like, like a symphony playing and just reaching that like point where it just like, the words are escaping me. Where it's like you can feel the rise of the tension in the song. King of Cups. How beautiful is that? I feel like this is really you. This is you embracing the shadow. This is you embracing the emotions that came up, and you're able to step into the light of day for yourself. Which is, I feel like you're healing, right? You're healing this, but I think that there's so much. Like, I need you to just take a step back, my daily creatives, and to fully integrate how much is changing for you, how much good is now able to come in, right? I'm almost hearing learner's permit, like that, like you drive your universal bus, right? Like, oh, so good. So good. Celebrate the sacred gap. That's where this is at for you, is this sacred gap. Okay, so in terms of signs, I have Sagittarius in the 9th house. I also see, I am seeing Cancer in the 4th house, as well as Aquarius in the 11th house. The Magician is Mercury energy, which could be Gemini in the 3rd house. It could be Virgo in the 6th house as well. The Sun is Leo, and that's 5th house energy, and Capricorn is the Devil energy, and that's 10th house. So those are the signs so far. I'm going to pull from the Miracles Now deck by Gabrielle Bernstein just to kind of round this out and get some concrete messages from Spirit for you in service to your healing. When I move my body, I bust through all that blocks me from my true health and vitality. Maybe it is 6th house in terms of Mercury, you know, optimum health, optimum mind, optimum spirit, right? Like, it's not about optimizing in service to productivity, but it's more so being in touch and in the right frequency, because your body is through, it's like this embodiment, right? Embodiment is how you hear spirit, because you are in a body, right? When I move my body, I bust through all that blocks me from my true health and vitality. Okay, and then we also have, I don't dance around the perimeter of the person I want to be. I step in fully and completely. More movement, this embodiment, right? Step in fully and completely. That's Ace of Cups energy. If I've ever seen some. Ace of Cups and Ace of Wands right there. Bam, bam. But also like the Magician kind of high-fived the cards too. Spirit, can I get some messages from the Notes from the Universe on Love and Connection deck by Mike Dooley, please? And thank you so much. It's not only about being right. In all tests of character, when two viewpoints are pitted against each other, in the final analysis, the thing that will strike you the most is not who is right or wrong, strong or weak, wise or foolish, but who went to the greater length in considering the other's perspective. Definitely something to consider here. Sometimes I've heard it said that you can be happy or you can be right, but I don't like to think of it in terms of that binary. It's like, how much of the other person's perspective have you fully considered? Have you fully taken in? Are you fully letting in, right? So you know what to do. That's some High Priestess stuff right there. You know what to do. Magician energy, Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, the Sun, the Star, Ace of Pentacles. All of this is here to remind you, you know what to do. You have what it takes. This is Magician, right? You have what it takes. In all battles of the heart over the mind, go with your heart. Because truly, it's a lot easier for your mind to catch up with your heart than for your heart to catch up with your mind. A whole lot. Not that I don't love your mind, the universe. So, lots happening. I think that this is almost like the promise of what's to come and or what is on it. Like it's already, sometimes you can see it starting to emerge. And I really hope that you get excited after this reading, my daily creatives, because this is a lot of projects, a lot of abundance, just abundance, abundance, abundance coming in for you. And it's this idea, you are divinity in blue jeans. Remember that. I think that that's brilliant. You are divinity in blue jeans. So step into that self fully and completely, right? So that's your daily reading today for April 21st, my daily creatives. If this resonated for you, please feel free to like or subscribe, and or both. I would love that if you did. I would very much appreciate it. It helps me to grow the channel and kind of get found in the sea of YouTube algorithms. But if from here, if this is, and there are other ways you can connect with me on the channel throughout the month, so please do if you feel so inclined. If this is where we part, however, I hope you have an absolutely magical day. Remember, your divinity in blue jeans. I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone your secret identity. It's good. We got this. Take care.